Born in the heart of Wisconsin, where tradition runs deep and good stories start around a tailgate. Join your host, Eric Tasker, and former Major League pitcher Paul Wagner as they dive into hunting, fishing, conservation, and the great outdoors, and share the stories that come with it. Because out here, it's more than a pastime. It's a way of life. Everything outdoors, and the stories that make good memories. This is Tailgate Talk.
Okay, well, it felt like we were doing shows hot and heavy there for a while. It was like, I saw you like every other day, it seemed like. Then all of a sudden the holidays come. Then I do a show with my brother and the fam. Then we go to Indy. And I'm like, I feel like it's been like a month since I saw you.
Well, I've seen you. We just haven't talked.
Right. Well, Happy New Year. I know that we have seen each other, but Happy New Year to our listeners. Paul Wagner is here. Eric Tasker. This is Tailgate Talk. First full episode after the first of the year. I just dropped a short little brief just saying that we were going to talk about ATA today and just kind of our recap from that and anything else that might come up. But did you have a good holiday?
Yeah. I mean, holidays were good. I think New Year's was good. Took the family. We jumped out to the Dominican, spent a little bit of time, a couple weeks or less than a couple weeks out in Dominican.
Yeah.
I come back and we were going to go down to the ATA. We were going to go down to Indianapolis right away. And I said, you know what? I got to unpack a bag. So you mind if we leave Wednesday instead of Tuesday?
Yeah.
So, no, everything went good. The family's good. Celebrations were good. Food was good. Beverages were good. So, yeah. How about you?
Well, my wife ended up in the ER the day after Christmas. So Sherry ended up, I mean, I know I told you this, but she walked down the stairs carrying something out to the garage. She was carrying like a big box, limited visibility, misses the one step to the garage floor. We thought that it was a fracture in the left ankle and a broken right fifth metatarsal. So it's funny. So where in the world do people break both of their feet at the same time?
I am so much older than you, and I have never seen it before. And I showed you something.
Yeah.
You told me your story, and I'm like, how in the world does she do that? He goes, oh, yeah, she's got the boot here. She's got this thing here. Unbelievable. I go, holy crap, how bad of luck is that? I go to lessons the other night. I showed you a picture.
Yeah.
In my lifetime, I've never seen it. And I got one of my instructors has the same exact problem.
What in the world? It's just so funny. And I was trying to kind of correlate that to, like, what is the, like, random sighting that happens in the outdoors? Like, oh my God, Wags, you have a albino or you have a piebald on your property this year.
Right.
It'd be like one of those, like, once-in-a-lifetime things, right?
Right.
You catch the 58-inch muskie. Or, you know, whatever that super random occurrence is.
Right.
I'm like, oh, my God, how do we both know somebody that did that in a matter of the same week probably?
And it was probably about the same type of action. It wasn't like, Sherry, hurry up. The tree's burning. Jump off of the platform and land on the concrete with both your feet. Right. You know, it was like, I was like, Nate, hurry up. Jump down from that tree. That bald eagle's going to get you.
Yeah.
No, it was a trip, an unfortunate, a step that he's gone down. I know where they are. They're right here at our facility. The steps have been there for 15 years.
Yeah.
He's gone down them for the last 10 years.
Oh my
and he's
God.
Carried more stuff and other stuff, and it just happened, and that's kind of what you were telling me about Sherry.
Yeah. So that kind of threw our remember we were talking about how it was just going to be a miserable week. It was going to be like, miserable just in the sense of like it's going to be one thing right after another.
Right.
And I'm like, Sherry, you didn't have to go to the ER just to get out of going to dinner at my parents' house.
Could have just told me.
You do realize you could have just said you had COVID. I joked with my parents on Christmas Eve, 3 days prior to this, saying, I don't know. I don't think I'm feeling great. I think I have a sore throat. I might have COVID on Friday. And you took it to an extreme. That was a little much. It's a little dramatic for you, but so besides that, it was actually really nice. I mean, we had the stepdaughter was home for like 2.5 weeks, so we kind of just did like a New Year's thing and played pool and threw darts and just kind of rang in the new year that way. And it was good. It was almost too much time, just in the sense of like I can't be stuck at home forever. So I had like the last 2 weeks of the year off, basically. Yeah. I'm like, I can't wait to go back to work. I'm like excited to be out of here, excited to get back into a routine. I think that's the thing that we miss most in those times where it's like just the chaos of the holidays is like you do a routine for 12 months out of the year. And then all of a sudden the last 2 weeks, you're like, I don't know what the hell's going on, but
that's a good point.
We'll get through it.
You look forward to that time off so much, but you really don't know what to do with that time off. Not that you don't want it. But now all of a sudden you're like, okay, you know what? Had my time off, but I'm so routined that I'm ready to go back. Yeah.
But she's on the mend, so she ended up actually going back afterwards, and what they thought was a hairline fracture actually was just a serious sprain. So she's moving around, she's getting around. She had to go back to work. She was like making cowboy caviar the day after it happened. Like, I have to stand up, I have to move, I have to clean, I'm like, just relax. Please, would you? Yeah. But that was good, and it was nice. I mean, now we get through the first of the year. We went to ATA, but then like right after that, I come back, and me and my buddies are going back and forth. Can we make a night or a time slot for league work? You know, shooting our winter league.
I did see that.
So it kind of came together almost last minute. Like, basically, I called on Friday, what kind of openings do you still have? Oh, hey, we've got Monday at 8 o'clock. Okay, I'll see if that works for everybody. Ended up actually working for everybody. So we've got a 4-man squad, and we started pretty good, surprising. Like, usually we'll be in that like 250 to 260 number to start out of 320.
Yeah.
And I think we shot like a 285, a 272, a 265, and like a 263. So like even our two lowest scores were kind of right on par for kind of where we were thinking. But
good.
Yeah, so that should be fun. I love doing that just purely for the fact of there's so much time in between the seasons. Like, even if you're hunting until the end of January, if you're going to bow hunt, like, you need to be shooting year round. I mean, if you're going to bow hunt turkeys, you need to be shooting year round, you know, because you don't want to lose your form. You don't want to lose, you know, that like feel of anchoring and just doing a lot of that stuff. So I love it.
I thought it was neat the way you posted it on social, just to see it and, you know, see some of the guys that I recognize and see them jumping around and back at it. So what a great way to get back out of it, so that we don't, or get back at it, so we don't forget about it, you know. And that's something that we don't want to. And we're moving into different hunts right now. We're moving into rabbit hunts. We're moving into turkey season coming up. We applied for our bear tags. I mean, things are moving along. Ice fishing, guys are still going up to Bago right now, and they're ice fishing some of the bays. And there's so many things going on, but not to lose focus of what our love is whitetail.
Yeah, And I know that my saving grace last year, when our friend Chris Ham from HHA invited us to go to Vortex and to go to Matthews and to go to some of those other ones, I mean, you think about it, and it's like the middle of summer. So if you're not shooting year-round and you show up to that, it adds a little pressure. And I knew going into it, I'm like, I feel comfortable with where I'm at for shooting. Like, I'm not shooting better than I ever have, but I can go and show up and be respectable, you know?
Yeah.
And so you never know when you're going to get invited to go shoot. Just keep slinging arrows. And
what if we were down at ATA and somebody would have said, Chris would have said, hey, you, or maybe one of those guys where they're saying, hey, let's go throw. We walked into that one room. I don't know where I think you pulled off to the side. I probably rubbed my knee. You were taking pictures of Millennium tree stands, seats and stuff like that. And I just looked in and I popped in. I wasn't sure what to expect. And I'm not lying. There must have been 100 targets on one side, 100 targets on the other side, and 300 archers just walking around. And I'm like, I could just walked into the Twilight Zone. So I'm like, oh, good thing you didn't bring your stuff, or you'd have been swung in there right away.
I know. I'd have been
crazy.
Itching.
It was crazy.
I'd have been itching. But yeah, so let's talk about ATA. So we were thankful. We were like grateful for the invite from HHA. it kind of came together as we were talking to him when he came on for the last episode that he did in December with the release of their new site. It was nice to finally put hands on that and kind of see what it looks like. But he said, okay, you guys are more than welcome to come. You guys do whatever you want. I'm going to make sure to include you on the couple things that we are involved with. I want to make sure you guys do that. So we're like,
I thought that worked out
way too good for us.
Yes.
Like, if you want us to do something, if you need us to do something, let us know. We're happy to help. You know, I mean, you're kind enough to offer us passes to be able to go. And I think it worked out really well. I mean, we had a couple of different options. There was something Tuesday that wasn't going to work because you were just getting back from the Dominican, you know, but then that gave you the opportunity to come back. We leave early Wednesday morning.
Nice, easy drive.
Easiest drive we could have ever asked for to get through Chicago and to get into Indiana. We were able to check into our hotel room early so we could go kick our feet up for a few minutes. Yep. And then we just got right into the swing of things. So we were able to see probably, I would say maybe 60 or 70% of the exhibitors on the first day that we were there, just in that afternoon.
Yep.
We had the awards dinner on Wednesday night, so we got to see who won best in show, most innovative, you know, some of those things, some of the like Lifetime Achievement Awards for just some of those different people that were being, you know, nominated or presented with those awards, a couple raffles, which was nice.
Yep.
And then we get to the dinner, we're sitting down, we get a couple drink tickets, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, this is gonna be awesome. You know, we're gonna have time tonight. Me and Wags, we're gonna go to the bar. I saw this cool bar across the street, and Chase Rice is performing. So we've got a country artist talking about drinking beer, having a good time with your pals. And you look at me and you say, I'm actually doing dry January. I'm like, so I have to drink all the beer by myself?
But as a true sport, I decided that I would not let you drink alone.
Okay.
And I had a little conversation with myself, Paul.
Okay.
And we're going to do dry February.
Okay.
So that's why we drank.
Okay.
That's why we had drinks.
And then we're walking out of the venue and we're like, I mean, we've already broken dry January. We should just go to the bar. And you're like, no, you know, we should really go back. And one is one thing, but 101 beers is a different thing. So let's just go back. We can get back. It's been a long day.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, I guess he's like the voice of reason. Your maturity was showing, Paul.
And I was this close. As you sent pictures of some of the items that we have obtained through those, 60% of the booths that we went through, the things we talked to.
Yeah.
Some of the banners and some of the hats and stuff like that, and I'm like, I was so close. I'm just showing you my fingers that are an inch apart. I was like, you know what? I looked at those pictures. I'm like, it's 9:00, 9:15, and we did have a couple beers already. And that Connor's Pool Hall, you saw the pool hall when you went to the Speedway.
Right.
I saw the other bar, and I've heard about that because the Holiday Inn Express that we stayed at by Lucas Oil is right by Victory Field. Mm-hmm. Victory Field is the AAA team for now, I believe, the Indians.
Right.
And at that time, when it was built, they weren't, and I was still up in Buffalo, and I did a rehab start, so I was down there, and I'm like, there's a nice bar around the corner. I almost called you, and then all of a sudden the text messages died, and I'm like, okay, that's a sign. So I
wish I would have been more engaged with the text messages then. I think because I was downloading all the photos from my camera for the day, so I just let it spin. That's when I don't know, I just got changed, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to just get ready here, whatever. And I kept thinking, I had the thought in my mind, is Wags going to send me something? You know, it's really only 8:15 Wisconsin time.
And it was right at the bottom, you go off the elevator.
It was 60
walk
feet from the door of the hotel.
That is why I was really swayed, and I was like, man, I don't know. But I passed.
But we
only had a couple. We used. You might have had. I don't know how many beers you. Maybe three or
beers.
four.
Yeah,
and
small
I think I only had 2 or maybe 3 or.
I think it was only 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was okay, and so yeah. So but anyway, back to
And maybe we would have had more, but they capped me at taking 2 beers at a time. So because I had like 9 drink tickets. I was going to just go up and say, can I have a tray, take it back to the table. I thought things were going to get carried away.
So did I. I lost focus for a second. I forgot about Dry January, and Chris had his sheet there with his raffle, and I'm like, oh, yeah, you didn't take, because Chris doesn't drink.
Right.
He's got 2 drink tickets, so I peeled those off.
Accumulating more.
And then I'm like, I didn't even use them. So again, a thief in the night that goes wasteless. It was sad. But the one good thing I liked about it, or that I was so surprised about, is that for being a trade event or a new release, the ATA has been going on for years.
Yeah.
Very, very low key. Like, there was, when he came on to play, people were leaving. Free beer and drink tickets. I saw him on the other side of the table as well. I was really, I guess I'm used to construction workers.
Right.
Or other blue-collar, hard-nosed workers that when they go to a trade event, hey, we'll play with a couple Milwaukee saws. Hey, there's the DeWalt. Hey, there's the Makota. Or you know what? Okay, let's go drink.
There's the bar.
And there's the bar.
Where is the bar?
There's the bar. And you got your whole
Which one
group
is closest to the venue?
And I got all 6 carpenters that work for my dad. They're all there just drinking.
Yeah.
And that wasn't happening. That wasn't happening.
It was not. It was kind of a surprise.
It was.
And so it worked out. We were back in our room at a halfway decent hour.
Yeah.
We knew we had this prayer breakfast the next morning, which Chris and his team kind of led or were like the lead sponsor for. And we knew there was a prayer breakfast. So we're like, oh, okay, well, it's probably like 8 o'clock or whatever time. Well, then we look at it and it starts at 6:30.
Yeah.
So we're like,
we had to leave by 6. We had to walk
at
least by 6. So
hope that we could get into the convention center, which turned out to be a chore. So we're sitting there and we're thinking, as we're walking over, I just remember thinking, he said 250, and you're like, I would bet a month's wage that there's not going to be 250 people there. This is like a blue-collar event. How is everybody not like, I just
at
totally
6:25 in the morning.
That.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and maybe some people were hungover, but you couldn't tell. So we go and we're like, all right, here's what our plan is going to be. We're going to go. We're going to do everything there. We'll come back to our rooms. We'll try and get a late checkout. Then we'll go finish the day at the ATA, get on the road, kind of like later dinner kind of hour, and then we'll just drive back, and hopefully we can miss some traffic.
Right.
It all worked out great, except we drove home in a pouring thunderstorm basically the entire way. I got rerouted a little bit, but all in all, it was a breeze. I mean, Indy is such an easy trek from where we are that it really worked out really well. My question for you is, was there something that really stood out to you as like, holy cow, that's cool, or just like something you had never seen before, or like what was kind of your highlights from the show in terms of maybe products or innovation?
I thought it's kind of exactly what I expected. It was a lot of companies that I hadn't heard of.
Yeah.
We as outdoors people, I think we see the surface, we see the big names, the advertisers, everything from calming scents to laundry detergent. I mean, everything in the hunting industry, whether it be cameras or tree stands. But we see the big store, the box store ones, the Muddies or the River Edge, the Summits and stuff like that we see. But I was surprised at how many other companies were around. And then the one that obviously I took a little bit of too is when I said, hey, we're walking through this wind. I said, Task, can you, is that lip balm? My lips are chapped. Grab me one of those lip balm. That was Lancaster Supply. Obviously, we know the whole story about the archery, how it started in Pennsylvania. It was a great story. Matter of fact, him and his son, or he was awarded an award at the award dinner. So again, we knew where we were, and it was. But then we turned the corner, and there's a company called Deer Schmear, and I don't know why. I go over there and I go, wow, look at this. Well, Deer Schmear has stuff that looks like lip balm,
Right.
But it isn't. It is for your bowstring wax.
Yeah.
It's bowstring wax.
Yep.
It's for your bowstrings. And it's scented, whether it's earth,
Yeah.
corn, persimmons, acorns, whatever it is, earth. I mean, like I said, dirt. And I thought that was really, really, I don't know if it's an effect. I don't know
Yeah.
if real wax stinks. Like,
Right.
do deers pick it up? It's obviously a wax. There's got to be some type of material in here that can be picked up. But it was funny because after I saw them the first time, then we run into your friends from Buck Rub. We run into Raven, and Raven was the one who told me, she says, Paul, you do have to use wax on the strings that aren't cable or aren't
Yeah.
waxed up already.
Yeah.
The ones that can fray, you have to. And I'm like, oh my gosh, deer schmear.
Yeah.
Raven, Buck Rub. I went back to Deerschmear. I didn't get any yet, but it's
Yeah.
definitely a call. And it's definitely a company that we're going to have on the show as a guest.
Yeah.
Very intrigued by it, how he came up with it. And, it's just something. There were so many things. I really like the fact that we got to meet some guys, some guys that I had played baseball with, and we got to
Right.
meet them. Some of the Buck Commander guys were there. We got to see some of the hosts. You took pictures with the Jared Mills, and
Yeah.
then we talked to Jeff Sturgis.
Yeah.
Guys that are on primetime TV, hunting shows and stuff. So I thought it was kind of neat. Nothing really caught me off guard. What about you?
Yeah, well, I have to say that I think the deer schmear had to be, like, if not number one, like a top 3 for innovation. Like, just something that we use all of these different products all the time, but why not just, like, elevate it in the sense of, okay, well, we use cover scents for everything. Why wouldn't we have a scented wax string? And Raven's response was best. She's like, do you really want to smell like doe estrus after, like, rubbing that in? And I'm like, I don't know what the flavors were that they had. I don't think that's what it was. And then come to find out, I looked it up, and it's like apple, it's persimmon, it's earth, it's
Corn,
yeah. Sweet corn, whatever, crazy corn, whatever. I'm like, I guess I didn't really think about it, but it would be on your fingers for sure because you got to rub it in.
and we wouldn't have even I got it. And you saw me the second day. I
Yeah.
went back there and talked to him too.
Yeah.
I found them very interesting. They have other products, obviously, and stuff like that. But if I didn't tell you to grab that lip balm, me personally,
Wouldn't have
I wouldn't
even
even
thought about it
twice.
because we actually thought it was string wax.
Yeah, I go, gosh,
originally.
I need wax.
Yeah.
I need wax.
Yeah. So that was my gift for Sherry for going to Indianapolis was lip balm because she can't have enough of them. Like, she might have 100 chapsticks at home, but she doesn't have a Lancaster Archery one.
So no.
Now she does. So I will say that I thought that was most innovative.
You made a purchase.
just
You made a
something-
purchase.
Yep. So there's a company there that I had also never heard of, Nose Down, and what they do is they make cover scents as well, some attractants, but what they do, they have a ton of merch. I mean, the booth probably had 500 hats, and you could tell that with this being the first year of it being a consumer show, some people were there for the vendors and the dealers. Some people were there specifically for the weekend. So we were there, and I think that kind of plays into why it was so low key for us, was because we were there during the press days and the dealer days.
Right.
So I think that it was nice for us. I thought, I kind of had this thought running through my mind over and over again, was, it adds some credibility for us going up and talking to these people, because, like, we're not just like Joe Schmo, even though
We are Joe Schmo.
in reality we're just Joe Schmo. But it was nice to be able to go, and people were so warm and welcoming to have conversations. And I know that's kind of what their job is, to be there, but it was actually quality conversations. It wasn't just like, hey, let me tell you about my product. It was, what's going on with your food plot and what are your challenges? And then it's a 45-minute conversation about how do we fix whatever's happening at the Wagner food plot for this upcoming year.
And you're
You know,
right.
and
You're right.
that I thought was, like, really kind of eye-opening, because it was not only the people who were on display there, but it was also the Jared Mills, the Jeff Sturgis, the Tom Bowes, all of those people who were like the celebrities or the influencers were all so like warm, welcoming, talkative, willing to have a conversation, willing to answer questions, whatever it might be. I really can appreciate that a lot because I'm sure they're getting it nonstop while they're there.
And I bet you, so being so thankful, I noticed also everybody that we talked to, they would all talk to us, nose down. I talked to the kid about Wisconsin wrestling.
Right.
we talked about Wisconsin athletics. We talked about a lot of things. But did you notice one thing? On every vendor that came or that we went up to, the first thing they did was look down at our name tags.
Yeah.
For our name, but then to see who sponsored us. And as soon as everybody saw HHA,
yeah,
it was like a found respect. Like, again, I don't know. It's like Chris Ham, HHA, and what they do and how they've helped this ATA program or the event and what they do for the industry, what they do for veterans, what they do in Hall for the Christian Fellowship, what they do for everything is so respected. And when they saw we were with HHA, I'm not saying that we are still Joe Schmoes, but it was like, okay. It was like, it was respect for us just because, let's just say HHA sponsored us per se.
Right. And the only time that we did not get the response we wanted was when we tried to register for that bow.
Yes.
It's just like, oh, sorry, vendors can't do it. Or I'm like,
that's what you said.
Well, we're not really vendors. No, it doesn't matter. We have to scan your badge and what. I'm like,
okay,
right.
not to the second.
All right, whatever.
Guys are signing up. They're getting hats.
Man.
I'm like, Tasker, let's get in
what
here.
The hell?
Let's try to
Why
win
don't
it.
we get a hat? Yeah.
PSC Bow or whatever.
I think it was Matthew's Arc. It was like the brand new one. Because we were like, if there's a bow available, we're going to register for it. Whatever.
Yes.
That I thought was my highlight. But like you were saying, I mean, there were some vendors that were there specifically for the consumer side. So you could kind of tell that their displays were set up a little bit different. And what I noticed, and I didn't notice this like a ton on social media, but the one that I did notice was HHA actually kind of redid their booth. So like they had hats and shirts and some merch for the consumer show, which makes sense. I mean, if you're going and you can take advantage of it, hell, you might sell enough merch to make up for the cost of the booth. Yeah. I know that's a lot of T-shirts, but there's a lot of people that could be there that would want to, or, I bought this HHA shirt while we were at ATA, or just like as a, I don't know, like a tour poster or whatever.
And we noticed a couple bigger, larger companies that weren't there. And I talked to some of those people when I got back, and their point was being, hey, how do I look at this? So I guess last year's ATA show, each booth, vendor, owner, company was given a survey. How can we make this better?
Yeah.
Obviously, the participation has declined over the years, and they were talking about that. But how can we make this? And somebody had put in, or one of the options was open it up to the public. A lot of companies said no. A lot of companies said no, and a lot of those companies is the reason why they didn't go. They go to the ATO or the ATA show to sign deals with
their dealers.
Yeah. And how can I give you a dealer show rate right now, and then 2 days later a customer walks in and gets it? Right. So there was a conflict, and it wasn't a problem that they didn't address or they did it, but it was, I guess, one that they couldn't sleep on. So some of the bigger companies that I talked to didn't want to even get involved with that. And we also talked to a couple companies, if you remember this. I don't remember who they were exactly. I believe one of them was Whitetails Unlimited, which stayed the whole time. But there was another group that we got something from, and they said, "No, don't worry about it. We're leaving Friday morning."
Oh, yeah.
So I think a lot of people wanted to work with their dealers, kind of get their products sold. They have sales reps. Their reps are there. Their product is there. Is there a new product they want to display and show off and try to win an award? Yeah. Possibly. But a company that has the same thing over year and they're making minor tweaks, they have their reps. They know they can sell it. They send them out on January 1st. Hey, here's our first of the year dealer rep bonus schedule, wholesale pricing. Bingo. This is our show event, even though we're not there. Here's our show pricing. And, you don't want to get caught into that, because now all of a sudden, now you're going to lose the dealer. Like,
right.
If they're getting the same, why would Buck Rub go down there?
Right.
If I'm getting the same deal as these guys that are walking in from Wisconsin, they get the same deal. I can't make it. Right. It doesn't make sense.
And I think for And I think for a lot of them, like if it was Matthews, like, okay, Bear was there. Bear Archery was there. Okay, so if they have a dealer price, I believe even if you say you go in and you're like, all right, my 8-year-old bow is just, it's just not, it doesn't have all the bells and whistles of what the new stuff does. Maybe I want to just upgrade. Even if you were to customize it, I think they ship that to your local dealer.
Oh,
so like if you go to the Matthews website, I believe it would go to Buckrup or Whale's Tails or Westtown or whoever, because they still have to do like final assembly and get everything tuned for it.
And that makes sense for that. But remember when we were also talking to the guy with the bow stands or the double man stand?
Yes.
We really like that stand.
Yeah.
Showed me the pricing and he said, and I go, we're not going to buy 20 of these. Like,
right.
My hat doesn't say I represent Cabela's. So I said, we just need one. And then he goes, remember he did. He said, if you want, we'll probably go talk to Melissa. Melissa would give you
an actual shipping quote. Some of that stuff.
We won't make a budget over that. If it's $100 to send it to you, we'll charge you $100, but you'll get it. And I can see where, there is issues. I can see that. And I can see why maybe some vendors weren't happy with the choice of opening it up to the public.
Especially for that bigger stuff. It's one thing, like we were talking about the nose down, for like hats or t-shirts or whatever it is. Yeah, you can sell those there, and that's really easy because it just folds up and it goes in a bag. You can't just say, oh, yeah, you want to take this tree stand home today in the big box? Let me just disassemble it and undo all the screws and put her back in the box for you. Exactly.
And then going back to your point, what's going to happen when you open it up to the public. Again, you mentioned this on your Clip It when you were kind of like skimming over our ATA.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you open up to the public. Now you're going to get a renewal by Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get a garage door company.
Yeah.
You're going to get somebody, because if public is walking through there, there's other issues. Yeah, you're looking for archery equipment.
It's a high-value consumer that's walking through.
So when you open it up to the public, now you're opening it up to other vendors. You've lost vendor partnership or continued, you've lost a little bit. So how do you make up money with a 3-year deal with the Indianapolis Convention Center, getting booths in there? Now you're going to open it up to gutters and siding and roofing.
Right. That was... And I know I said this in my short snippet, was everybody had the same response. For people who, the ladies that we sat with at the breakfast, they're like, we've been doing this for 25 years or 30 years, like forever we've been coming to the show.
Right.
It's not the same. And we walk in wide-eyed and excited as all get out to be there. We're like, well, we're just happy that it's every single person is related to the outdoor industry. There might be some accessory stuff or some random things here and there, but they all pertain back to food plot equipment. The one place that we had stopped and talked to, they had a plot packer.
That what was it called? The Infirmerator 5 or the Infirmerator 3? Gosh, I wish. I just walked right by.
Time to buy a new tractor.
Guy looks at me. Did you see him? He looks at me. I go, yeah, and he kind of gives me that nod, like, okay, buddy.
Yeah. But that's the nice part about that, is that everything was totally related to everything outdoor and hunting. Yeah. So that was really nice. For us coming in from what the Journal Sentinel show looks like now, the closest thing probably is the Wisconsin the Outdoor Sportsman's Expo in the Dells. Yep. That has grown, I believe, and it's been pretty big in size.
But then you're going to get your beef jerky companies.
Yeah. And that doesn't necessarily make sense. Okay, those smaller local shows, sure, because, Trails End might have a booth there because there's a ton of Wisconsin hunters. Yeah. But at a national show, how do you even find your audience with that? Right. If there's 10,000 people that go there, we've got 50 states. Who knows where these people are all traveling from to find your actual consumer to do meat processing. It was nice not to see.
Correct. I guess unless you're, Jack Links,
right?
Someone, not Jack
promoting
Links, Wisconsin,
the sticks, for
exactly.
the stand.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they would do.
They could do.
Was there anything that you thought this is for sure going to be there and it wasn't there?
Huh. I thought, even though, like Matthews, like we talked about, certain boat companies didn't release prior to the, so HHA released that site December 9th.
Yeah.
I believe if you didn't have a product to new release to launch, I still thought just being a name in the industry, you would be there.
Yeah.
But no, not yeah. I mean, I did think that there was going to be more. Like, I thought a Polaris dealer would be there, a Can-Am dealer. I thought there are a lot of electric bikes, the Rambo bikes, those electric bikes, the new. I mean, there's a bunch of new companies coming out to compete in that market. There was also a 4-wheel. Did you see the little 4-wheel like a scooter bike? But I thought maybe like a major, like a Polaris. I didn't know. I just thought maybe, let's just say you're a bow shop, Buck Rub Archery. I use it because we see them and you shoot there and we know everybody there. That if they would say, hey, I tell you what, here's the deal. You promote it. You put this Polaris Ranger in your shop, bow repairs, go to your local bow shop and we'll give you for X amount of dollars and you can make a profit over MSRP or something like that. Right. I thought maybe something like that would have been there. And then other than that, I was really surprised that there was no over. I know it was archery, but I thought there would be, besides the one hydrocoating company. Yeah. I didn't see one. One guy was auctioning or raffling off a rifle, was a gun rifle, a long-term raffle, and he was a Montana elk guide. But other than that, I was pretty surprised. I mean, I was pretty okay. I was pretty okay.
I was surprised that Matthews and Hoyt weren't there, being the flagship show for the archery community. Now, what we have to remember is that SHOT Show is next week. So it's tough because, these shows, it's like it just gets harder and harder to go to all of them. And where do you spend your resources? So the Vortex optics, the Loophole optics, the Burris optics. The only optics company that I saw there was the Buck Commander, the Buck Ops.
And that was strictly for that's that rangefinder for the crossbow.
So I was expecting to see them there, but not disappointed in any way that they weren't. I mean, it's you can't be everywhere.
So many broadheads. There's one guy up here that's called Steel Broadheads. I listened to him. I didn't talk, but we're gonna give him a call and try to get him on. He said, well, we're gonna tell him that he said he was available and find out when it is. And but there were so many different broadheads that I thought some of them. I don't know if you saw them. There was a couple that looked almost like caveman-ish. It almost looked like it was like an arrowhead you would go find up in the Dells walking on the side of the river. Yeah. Or in a field that the farmer just turned over. And I remember when we were kids, farmers would turn over the fields and we'd go in there and he'd say, any arrowheads you find, you can keep. But when you're looking for arrowheads, please pick up rocks. So we, dumb kids, were like, okay, and the farmer's laughing as we're picking rocks out of his field for him, dumping them in the bucket of the skid steer or the tractor, and we're doing his job, and we're looking for arrowheads, finding one or two of them, but we just moved 17 tons of rocks.
Yeah, I was going to say, 100 hours of labor for not a single broadhead.
But I saw a couple of those, and I don't know, I didn't really stay there to listen to his spiel per se. But they were, the cuts were still 7/8", 2-inch cuts, chisel tips still, worked out, but with a double blade. It was just things that were just surprising. But anyway, the broadhead selection was kind of crazy for me.
Yeah, and I think you said steel. Was it the Speed broadhead?
Speed. Did I say steel? I meant Speed.
And so that was one of the brands that I walked in, and I'm like, they have like a 40 by 40 booth here, and I've never even heard of them.
That's right. That's what you did say. And it wasn't put together in a day. It was something that travels.
It was well thought out, nice display. It had everything you could ask for there. I mean, they had multiple different displays, perfectly set up for a trade show, 4 displays on each corner of the booth. Yep. It was really well done. and you had mentioned this too, and I just want to reiterate it. There were so many companies there that I had never heard of, and it's almost like they use that as a launch pad for their brand.
Probably,
of going to something like that, and they're just hoping that one time. The one thing that I did buy, that arrow offset for fletching that I bought from that one guy, he's like, Lancaster Archery came over and did a video on this, and I say, yeah, my buddy who basically runs a bow shop out of his basement had reshared it, and so that's who I'm buying these for. I'm gonna just buy a pack and I'll ship it to him. He's like, honestly, we are so overwhelmed right now. There's no way that we'll catch up with the demand.
Really?
And that kind of a story is everything you could hope for. I mean, who doesn't go into a trade show thinking, boy, if we could just sell 50 of these packages, 50. And then all of a sudden you're so overwhelmed that you can't even handle the inquiries, the likes, the shares, the follows, everything that goes with that for just a little one-man shop who just created some innovative product that he saw a need for, used his 3D printer to print these little plastic offsets, and all of a sudden, Lancaster Archery walks up and is like, you know what? That's a really great idea. Let me shoot a video on that. And it
boom.
Blows up.
And you spent good time with him.
Yeah.
You talked to him a while.
Yeah. Well, and I just, I wanted to kind of hear his story, and I wanted to hear how he thought of it. And, he's like, oh, well, do you fletch your own arrows? And I'm like, well, I have a fletching jig, but I mean, I've tried it a couple times. I'm worried about scraping off the carbon on the arrow, and so we were kind of going back and forth about that.
Speaking of that, just because I just went to interrupt you, did you also see he also had this bottle? You can just dip it in there and it'll come off. You don't have to scrape. It just comes right off. And it's reusable.
I would have bought that.
So it's a bottle about the size of your Yeti.
Yeah.
And you just stick it in there and it comes right off. There's no scraping. There's no nothing. It comes right off.
Yeah,
and then
I'm going to have to find that.
Yes, you find that bottle, and then he's the one who told you, see this? And you go, yeah, it looks like something I had. He goes, this is 25 years old. Remember?
Yeah.
I mean, so, yes.
Because in that, he had a Bitzenberg jig, because I was just telling him I got this,
for 20 years.
OMP, like October Mountain Products is the brand. Well, they had come out with this fletching jig last year that was like another ATA product from last year that like blew up, and they didn't have stock until like October.
Okay.
So it was like a 10-month lag for them to actually get this launched. And he's like, oh, well, I'm not sure. And then I ended up seeing, like, I think at that AAE booth, the Vane booth.
Yeah.
I think they had one there, because I saw it, like, kind of going back and looking at just some of the things that they posted from the show. They actually had the jig that I have. He's like, oh, well, this is, like, made specifically for this. It's kind of the staple in the industry. And I'm like, okay, great. I don't care about the staple in the industry.
Right.
What's going to fletch my arrows so that they fly right? That's what I care about.
Speaking of that, when you showed me, and I never knew it, when you showed me that arrow, that diameter of that arrow was like the size of baseball bats that my kids use. The guys on my team use.
Yeah.
You showed me that whole, like, let's just say my Full Metal Jacket, my Easton's, are 5 mm, maybe I don't know why I'm having a brain fart, but like 5 mm. And you showed me that one fat one, and I'm like, and it made sense. And then we saw that really, really thin one that looked like, like I don't know, like a wire basically.
Yeah.
And you were explaining to me how, obviously distance and wind effect and how it's going to affect on that. But I was crazy with that. So when you were saying everything you're doing, I was like, crazy.
Yeah. So the very thin ones are typically like the thinner diameter. I don't understand how they can spine them the same way as they do with the regular ones, but it's still a 350 spine or a 300 spine or a 250 spine. So it still has the same dexterity and like stiffness and durability as what your normal diameter ones do. But
it was small. Like it was like, I know it wasn't this small, but it was like, like when you take a ink pen and you pull it out and you see the ink, the little plastic ink.
That's what it seems like.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, how in the world does that thing fly?
So then the large diameter, this is kind of funny. They're called the Tank 23 or Tank 25. So it is 25/64 inch
fatty
diameter.
That's a fatty.
Yeah. Where you think of, like a normal one. So it's like 0.38, 0.39 inch outside diameter.
Okay.
A normal one is 0.279 inches outside diameter.
Oh, I would have thought it had been more than that.
So it's like your standard, like a Maxima Red. That is like a 30 or more % increase in diameter.
Yes.
And the reason for that, of course, is so when you're competition shooting, as long as you break the line on the target, whether that's 3D or competition, it counts. So they just rig it. I mean, not rig it, but they rig the system with the fatter arrows so they have a little leeway. I mean, almost twice as much leeway as what they would have had.
Exactly right.
You know?
They looked at it. I thought it was a toy.
But then you see that super skinny diameter, the normal standard diameter, and the fat chunky one, and you're like, what is this? Like a snow marker for our driveway? I mean, the things are huge. And it's really jarring to see them right next to one another.
Correct.
Because that's where it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, it's like a big arrow. But then you take the small one and the fat one and you put it next to it, and it's like 4 arrows in one.
Yes. You showed me. I thought you were joking. Yeah, what is that? Is this like a... I know...
It's
sometimes
it's a prop.
That's what I
for the
thought.
show.
Hey, here's how we're going to show you. This is what we are doing. This is what Carbon Express is doing with their new arrows. We're going to magnify this. This is just a sample piece that the Rapala lure that's like the size of me.
Yeah.
Oh, we're going to fish with that? No, it's going to hang up on the
hang
ceiling
on the wall
at the bait shop.
Go at the bar. Yeah. So that was cool. And then I'm trying to think if there was like anything else that really stood out to me. I feel like...
What about the woman that we had the conversation with when I was also intrigued by those ghost blinds?
Oh, yeah.
So Summit Stands obviously has their 3 stands.
Summit Outdoors.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Summit Outdoors. They have like a turkey, almost like a turkey branch.
Yeah.
Where they have, seats, those cellophane, the cotton or the gel seats.
Yeah.
They have long chairs that you can actually get down 3 inches off the ground. Those ghost blinds with reflectors on it where you can hide behind the panel. And I just was intrigued by how when I saw them, one was almost a mirrored image.
Okay.
And I got it. When she showed us, examples of it in the field, it works. Yeah. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, what about sun comes up? We turkey hunt in the morning.
Right.
Sun comes up. Is there a flare? Is this turkey or glare? Is this turkey is Tom gonna come strutting in and all of a sudden look and he's gonna get glared in the face? And
I hope it gets confused so you can shoot it.
His face are just a little bit longer. Fall down. Okay. But it was kind of neat because you could also flip it around for a camo background.
Yeah.
But again, they had some innovative things for the turkey hunter. Seen them before, heard about them, maybe on paper or on TV or something to that effect. Never seen it in action. I think it would play. Right. I really do think it'd play.
Yeah.
We sit in ground blinds here. I'm not a kind of guy who hunts an open field.
Right.
I don't try that often anymore. I don't jump onto a parcel, try to cut them off where they're going to go roost. I don't do that. But in the day, I still have all that stuff. I have a netting that goes up in front of me. But I thought that was a neat product.
You know where I could see that being super effective is sitting by your blue chair.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's kind of like you're crossing there in like that, alleyway there.
Yes.
That I think that could be a total game changer.
Absolutely.
Of just sitting there with one of those turkey chairs and sitting on the ground and, either up against a tree or whatever, but having that in front of you and just being able to see that massive intersection.
Yes, perfect
totally
example.
The spot to use.
Especially when they come out of roost and they're coming up to the food plot. That's a perfect spot. That's your kill spot right there.
Yeah.
If you have that.
Right.
What else?
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that I will say that, just to reiterate this, I thought it was so nice just to go and to have really normal conversations with people, because they were so welcoming. Of course, they want to sell you something, but it never felt that
right.
way.
It didn't.
It was like, hey, if you have questions, if you have like a scenario you want to talk through, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Anybody and everybody was above and beyond kind, generous, informative, all of the above. That it certainly exceeded my expectations just for the overall experience. But that was like that was everything I could have asked for in all those conversations that we had. Everybody was like, yeah, we'll come on your show. We'll do this. Let us know if you have questions. I mean, they were all just so willing to share information, which was really nice.
We did have a Where's Waldo. Do you remember this? So we're walking and I see a couple guys and I don't know who they are. They're talking. One guy's really tan and the other guy put together. I mean, they look, good looking guys. And I'm like, oh, Tasca runs into the Yukon Moose. He's like, holy crap, you know who that was? I go, what are you talking about? What you doing? Watch out for those things.
Yeah.
He goes, that's blah, blah, blah. We got to go find him. I got to ask him some questions. I go, oh, does he hunt? He goes, no, but I want to ask him what kind of camera he's got.
Yeah.
So tell us that story, because that was one. Yes, I didn't mean that to avail. I was like, so then we try to find him to no avail. We ran into this guy. He was always talking. We go up one aisle, come back the next.
Right.
There he is. He was
at the Speed Broadheads booth for like a day.
Then we're like, okay, we're just going to go up and talk to him. Let's just get this over with rather than run in. And then he was gone like a ghost.
Yeah.
Go on.
So there's three influencers and people who I think are like positive contributions to the outdoor industry. This guy, Ty J. Jordan is his Instagram handle. That's the guy I wanted to ask about.
He was the darker skin guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
He lives in Utah. The majority of what he does is he films like his 3D archery shooting in the backyard. Like in his backyard is like, it's Utah, so it's like, they might as well be at the national park out there with like the beautiful cascading rolling hills and all of that. So his archery target has a backdrop of gorgeous like browns, tans, orange mountains in the background. So first of all, very visually appealing just for the backdrop and the setting of it, but he does really nice quality video. So I want to know, okay, how far are you shooting and what kind of a lens are you using? So I wanted to ask him that. So then we see another guy. He was chatting with Scott, who is a guy from, he owns and runs an archery shop in Georgia. He goes and films like product reviews, new product launches, a lot of that stuff. But he also calls out a lot of the bullshit in the industry.
So these two guys were together, but not really together. They're
kind
solo.
of, yeah.
They're
Like they are two separate entities,
okay,
but
okay.
they just do a lot of stuff together when they're together because one's in Georgia, one's in Utah.
Gotcha.
He was another one that I just at least wanted to introduce. We've like commented on each other's stuff and all that. So I'm like, oh, what a perfect time to be able to do that. And then another guy, White River Rambo, I think he's like, I think he's an Indiana guy, but he, I think, does the most informative, like explaining like whatever questions you might have. Tell me what the different arrow spines mean. Okay. And he'll do like a super in-depth, very engaging, like almost educational.
Yeah.
And so then I never even told you this. So I posted the video and he saw it on TikTok. White River Rambo saw it on TikTok. He was the older guy with the beard. And, he sees it on TikTok. He comments, and I had filmed that from outside of the hotel, and I just said, oh, yeah, here we are, Lucas Oil Stadium, whatever. And he's like, so you mean to tell me that we were at the same show and we stayed at the same hotel for 3 days.
And we didn't see him.
We didn't run into each other. And I'm like, I'm sorry, man. I'm okay to be overbearing sometimes, like when I want to like go and say hi to somebody, but if you're in the middle of a conversation, I'm not going to be like that annoying fangirl that's going to go up to you and be like, oh my God, take a picture with me. I wasn't going to do that. So I'm like, well, we've got time. Now, if we're invited again for next year, which fingers crossed we are, that I would do like a little pre-planning. Like, some of them do, hey, here's a meet and greet for the booth. And, I wanted to look at some of that stuff, like who are the vendors, who's going to be there, what's the layout kind of look like. Well, I was playing nurse for the whole week before we left, so I didn't really have time. But next year I'll have a better game plan going into it.
You're right. And remember, it was on the board. That's how we knew when we walked into one area at about 3 o'clock where we went to the HHA booth, and Chris wasn't there.
Right.
And then you said, remember, we just looked, and I forgot, it said Chris was speaking on one of the rooms or one of the convention centers or one of the, those conference rooms from 3 to 4. So, there is probably more we could take
advantage of more, and we kind of talked about that on the way home. Like maybe we would do a 2-night stay this time, and maybe we would get there late on Tuesday to be there for the dinner that we got invited to, and then that way we've got all day Wednesday to have those long conversations. Thursday we can do the breakfast and then we can
leave if we want,
if we're done or if we go. So, lessons learned. All in all, we finally went to ATA.
We went to ATA, and you know what else, too? Real quick. We were walking and talking, and granted, it was much smaller than it's ever been in the past, but there was never one time where, like, I don't even think we went to the bath. I go to the bathroom. Right. When I get out of the bathroom, I got to go again.
Yeah.
And I didn't go at all. We didn't stop. We didn't have any concession stand. We didn't have any pot pretzels. We didn't have any sodas or waters. We walked and talked. I did steal a couple Snicker bars from that guy.
Yeah.
Them were damn good. I had 2 little ones, and I'm like, oh,
it's hard when you got a bucket of candy out.
I know.
I could take a couple Lifesavers for the road.
That's
why not?
But I was like, we went through it. We did it. We continued to walk. You ran into a couple guys from the OKS. I mean, you ran into some people that had to talk, and then I continued to move around. Then one time we had actually set down some stuff. I think you set down your camera. I set down something, and you went a little. But either way, we always came right back, and we were just moving along. We never really stalled, and I never really looked at you, or you never looked at me and said, hey, you want to just go sit down for a second? No. Yeah. It was nonstop.
It was just it was a really nice action-packed 36 hours for us. Yeah. Just what a cool experience. Okay. I mean, we're at 58 minutes. So
let's talk. Well, next time we'll talk about the guys that we talked to. We'll talk about we'll talk about Tommy Martin.
Yep.
Tombo. We'll talk about the good conversation we had with Jared Mills.
Yeah.
The little things that he had talked about and the Jeff Sturgis stuff.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we left that night, and Jeff had told us, and if you're not familiar with Jeff Sturgis, him and his wife, Jen, are both hunters. The biggest thing I took out of that real quick I want to hit on is when we were talking, we're always talking food plots and stuff, and he kind of reiterated exactly what I was feeling. Water is the most important.
Yeah.
Jeff told me that the last 2 bucks that he just shot, the 2 Monster 170 pluses, over water. He just said 2 weeks ago, Jen shot hers over water.
Yeah.
Those were the big things. And he always does, if you don't know who Jeff Sturgis is, he always does things on camera, and he always has a white washboard, and he gives you dates, and he's usually pretty close. He's out of southern Minnesota, right by that Buffalo County, Trempealeau, Iowa corner on Mississippi. So his timelines are pretty similar to us here in Wisconsin. And I like the way he talks, and he goes, hey, Paul, well, you heard him. Hey, why don't you just stay and I'm doing a whiteboard. And I go, we're leaving. We're leaving. But again, we talk about him, Jared Mills, Tombo, the things that we learned there. I mean, so many good people that we can talk about next time as well, the personalities.
Yeah.
Nate Hosey.
Yeah.
And one of your friends.
What a perfect way for an artist to play at a trade show was in an elevated blind that was like a huge monster, like 6-foot by 6-foot platform or whatever it was, right in the middle of the convention center, up 12 feet, 14 feet up in the air, and he's just playing his tunes, and he's got his chords run up there and all that. I'm like, oh my God, that's so great.
I remember, I couldn't remember. I thought he was a baseball player, and I know that. So when we ran into him in the hallway and talked to me, he said, no, I don't play baseball. He goes, I don't know, I just play music and shoot deer. And then you had talked to, who'd you talk to? Pat? You talked to somebody.
Yeah, one of our buddies.
Oh, yeah, the guy paints his face. And I went, oh, yes, that's who it is. Because when I say Nate Hosey, I always think of a guy back in my day when I played Dwayne Hosey. Now, Nate Hosey's a white guy. Yeah. Dwayne Hosey's a black guy. Okay. I don't know Dwayne that well. I just know about his baseball career. But every time I saw him, I kept saying to you, hey, there's Dwayne. And you're like, who the hell's Dwayne?
Why does his name keep changing?
Dwayne Hosey. I know he was the number one pick and everything. But what a great time. And then the other one thing, I know we got to go, but I don't know about you, but I kind of teased you a little bit. The Holiday Inn Express has this machine, and I checked into it. It makes pancakes.
Okay.
So that little pancake machine.
Yeah.
First off, guess how much it costs?
I'm gonna say $10,000.
Oh, I wasn't gonna say that much. It's $3,700.
Okay.
So you push this button, and you push how many pancakes come out. Yeah. Boom, 2 brand beautiful pancakes.
Perfect pancakes.
Boom, 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 boom. And I told Tasker, I go, how do you eat pancakes? And he goes, oh, yeah, well, whatever. He had a couple on
butter and syrup.
So I take the first one that falls, and I cover it with peanut butter.
Okay.
Then I take that second pancake and I put it on top.
Mm-hmm.
Put a little bit of peanut butter around the edges, kind of like, frost it like a cake.
Yeah.
And then just overload it with butter syrup. And I go, have you ever eaten it this way? Tasker goes, nope. And I broke it off. I didn't bite on that. And I had a little piece, a chunk, probably about 1 inch by 1 inch. And I said, you know what? I'd really love for you to taste it, but this is the best bite.
I think that's the best bite.
I can't give it to you. I'm sorry. Well, next year you can try it.
We'll do it next year.
But outstanding. We had an outstanding time. Holiday Inn Express was great. The girls at the front desk were awesome. They helped us. They let us check in early. They let us stay later. Let us catch a couple naps before our long ride. So again, tip out to them. I think we'll definitely stay there again. Yeah. It was not a bad walk.
Yeah.
But again, we didn't have snow and -degree weather, so maybe things will change next year. But again, it wasn't bad at all.
Yeah. All right. So that's it for the big ATA show. I'm glad that we did it. Just so much to come from that. I mean, I'm just looking at the table here, and we've got a dozen business cards for conversations to be had, and those will happen just throughout the year as timing is right. I mean, we talked to a safety harness company that would make sense as we're getting into our prep stuff. All in all, Chris Ham, thank you, brother. We appreciate you so much for letting us tag along. And next week, I think our plan is that we're going to go out and we're going to talk about toys. And when I say toys, I mean your ATVs, UTVs, pickup trucks, whatever that might be that you have for fun, boats, all of that. I believe our plan is to go out by Charisma Customs and talk to them. So our sponsor of the show, who does ceramic coatings, paint protection films, maybe you want to upgrade the stereo in your side-by-side, whatever that might be, anything auto aftermarket, boat stereos,
dash cams,
a lot of different things that we do. So I can't wait for you to meet Chad. Chad's a riot. And I think that it's going to be a fun conversation. And I just told them, hey, if you want to come on for 20 minutes or 30 minutes and just kind of talk generally about, what do you see and how have these items protected, different UTVs, ATVs, whatever it is. What have you experienced in just some of that stuff? But tell me why an outdoorsman needs to know. Yeah. Like, what is it that is so important? I always think like driving through on trails and there might be a tree branch or something that comes over. I mean, you'll get scratched up easy if you're driving through close enough to that stuff. So Charisma Customs in Delafield, for anything that you need, if you're freezing right now and you want a remote start, they've got plenty of them in stock and they'll be able to get you up and running. So give them a shout or visit their website, charismacustoms.com. I think that's about it, man. An hour and 5 minutes. Boy, we get away from that radio format, and
yeah, it goes crazy.
These shows might be 2, 3, 4 hours long.
Yeah, and it is really nice too, because like we've talked about, it's looking like we may be getting a couple more people on board to sponsor with us, and obviously we're going to have conversations with HHA, and Chris was great, and we have some other ones in the works, and you know what, I think it's just going to be good, and hopefully we expand, and it's just going good. An hour and 5, I think it's a good thing, especially with where we're going and who we've met and what we're coming into.
I totally agree.
Good thing we're off that radio platform.
I think this is going to be a fun year for us.
Yes.
There's a lot in the works and more to come, but I mean we're just doing our things. It's two guys just sitting here talking like a bunch of morons, and thanks for listening. So, all right, for Paul Wagner, I'm Eric Tasker. I believe this is episode 209 of Tailgate Talk. And find us anywhere that you listen to podcasts, Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio app. And we will talk to you next week.